Pope Leo is celebrating his first Holy Week and Easter in his new role as leader of the Catholic Church. This weekend, he led a Palm Sunday crowd that numbered in the tens of thousands in St. Peter's Square. That same day, a controversial incident was taking place over a gathering at one of Christianity's holiest sites. CBS News foreign correspondent Chris Livesay joins us from Rome with one of the most beautiful backgrounds for a live shot I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
It is not only Pope Leo's first Holy Week, we're also coming up on the 1-year mark of the passing of Pope Francis, the previous Pope. What's the atmosphere like in the Vatican City right now?
That's right, Kelly. Well, you know, there's certainly a lot of nostalgia, I guess you could say. It's hard to imagine that it's already been 1 year since Pope Francis passed away. It was one of those moments where everybody's hearts just sank because you'll recall the day before he died was Easter Sunday, and he'd made what looked like a miraculous comeback, even taking a victory lap in the Pope Mobile throughout St. Peter's Square, saying hello to people, but in fact, it turned out to be a goodbye. Many people had expected him to die in those months and weeks leading up to his eventual passing. He had double pneumonia. It became very serious. So it seemed like, you know, a resurrection, if you'll excuse the metaphor, it being what Easter is celebrated for, Christ's resurrection. It seemed like Pope Francis had done the same thing. Instead, he died the very next day with his boots on, many would say. And what a tough act to follow now for Pope Leo. Almost 1 year into his papacy. He's still largely a blank slate. Many experts will say that's very intentional, kind of trying to get his footing, but also not be too jarring, trying to maintain the legacy of Pope Francis. He's a pope very much in the style of Pope Francis, but also we're just beginning to see what his papacy is going to look like. He just got back from a trip to Monaco. He's about to go on a 10-day trip to Africa, and it's largely on these big international trips when a pope's style really starts to take off.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to that. And Chris, we mentioned this incident over the weekend at one of Christianity's holiest sites, and we're learning some celebrations were even cancelled as a result of that. Give us the update there.
Yeah, so according to local Israeli officials who were responsible for blocking the entrance to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, it was for safety reasons. It's because the old city of Jerusalem has very narrow alleyways, and they say that getting in and out would have been a true obstacle in the event of falling debris or an attack. In fact, in the days leading up to Palm Sunday, debris from an intercepted Iranian missile had actually fallen in the old city, very close to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. In fact, debris actually struck the Al-Aqsa Mosque nearby. So their reasons, weren't completely unjustified, but clearly Israeli authorities even thought that it was an overreach. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu making it clear that they were going to do everything they possibly could to make sure that Christians could celebrate Easter at their holy sites in the next coming days.
All right, Chris Livesay there joining us from just right next to Vatican City. Chris, thanks.